Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Are you tired of being stuck? Are you tired of making excuses? Are you tired of feeling like you're living at 50% of your potential while the stronger, more capable version of you is trapped inside waiting for you to step up? Because if you are, then today is the day you kill the weak version of yourself and start rebuilding now before you panic. I'm not telling you to hate yourself. This isn't about shame or guilt. It's about truth. It's about looking in and being brutally honest with yourself, the version of you that settles, that plays small, that makes excuses. That's the version of you that needs to go. And the only way to get rid of that version action, see, most people stay weak because they believe their weakness is their identity. They think, I've always been this way. I've always struggled with discipline. I've always been a procrastinator. I've always let fear stop me. But here's the truth. Your weakest self is not who you are. It's just who you've been practicing being. And if you can practice being weak, you can practice being strong. That shift starts with discomfort. Listen, I get it. No one likes being uncomfortable, but discomfort is the price of transformation. Weakness lives in comfort. Weakness lives in the snooze button. Weakness lives in I'll do it later. Weakness lives in your excuses. And if you want to kill that version of yourself, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You know what's comfortable? Staying in bed when the alarm goes off. You know what's uncomfortable? Dragging yourself up and doing what you said you were going to do. You know what's comfortable? Saying, I'll start tomorrow. You know what's uncomfortable? Starting right now. Discomfort is a sign that you're growing. That's why the people who push through it end up stronger, more successful, and more confident, because while everyone else is quitting, they keep going. And let's be clear, this isn't about motivation. Motivation is weak. Motivation is unreliable. If you're waiting to feel inspired, you're going to be waiting your whole life. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when you don't feel like it. Discipline is waking up and going to the gym when you're tired. Discipline is choosing to work on your goals instead of wasting hours scrolling through your phone. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it, because you're never going to feel like it. And if you let your feelings run your life, you will always be at the mercy of your weakest self. That's why your mindset is everything. The thoughts you allow in your head will either destroy you or make you unstoppable. You need to start calling yourself out every time you hear that voice say, I can't shut it down. Every time you hear, I'll do it later. Remind yourself that later is just another word for never. Every time you hear, I'm not good enough, replace it with watch me prove myself wrong. Your mind is either your greatest enemy or your greatest weapon. You decide which one it is and finally take ownership of your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. No one is going to make you successful, fit, happy, or confident. That is your job. Weak people blame others. Weak people make excuses. Weak people wait for the right time. But the strongest version of you, that version takes full responsibility. That version does not wait. That version does not blame. That version does not ask for permission. That version takes action. So today, right now, make a decision. Kill the weak version of yourself. Kill the excuses. Kill the procrastination. Kill the self-doubt and start rebuilding, because the strongest, most unstoppable version of you, they're already inside you. It's time to unleash them. The version of you that hesitates, that overthinks, that backs down when faced with resistance. That version is not who you are. It's simply a pattern you've repeated so many times that it feels like your identity. But here's the truth. Who you are is who you decide to be over and over again. Think about it. Nobody is born weak. Nobody is born lazy. Nobody is born afraid to take action. Those are habits you've picked up, behaviors you've reinforced, and beliefs you've accepted about yourself. And because you've been repeating them for so long, they've become second nature. They feel automatic, like they're just a part of you, but they're not. They're just choices you've made so many times that they've shaped the way, you see yourself. The good news, you can unlearn weakness the same way you learned it every time you hit snooze. Instead of getting up, you reinforce a habit of avoidance. Every time you let fear talk you out of an opportunity, you train yourself to retreat. Every time you say, I'll do it, later you strengthen the muscle of procrastination. These aren't personality traits. They're just repeated behaviors. And if you can train yourself into those behaviors, you can train yourself out of them. So how do you do it? You start small. A lot of people think change requires some massive overnight transformation. They think they need to wake up tomorrow and be a completely different person, but that's not how it works. Real change comes from small, consistent shifts in your daily behavior. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself, start by identifying the habits that are keeping that version of you alive. What are the small daily choices you make that reinforce weakness? Maybe it's hitting snooze. Maybe it's skipping the gym. Maybe it's scrolling through social media instead of working on your goals. Whatever it is, pick one habit and change it. If you hit snooze 3 times every morning, start by getting up after the first alarm. If you put off working out, start with 5 minutes of movement a day. If you waste time on social media, set a timer and force yourself to put the phone down when it goes off. These seem like small changes, but that's the point. You're retraining yourself to act differently. Your break. In the habit of weakness. And here's where it gets powerful. The more you do this, the more your self-image starts to change. Because when you prove to yourself through action that you can make different choices, you stop seeing yourself as someone who is weak, lazy, or incapable. You start to believe in your own ability to follow through. And once that belief starts to take root, everything changes. You'll begin to realize that the weak version of you only existed because you allowed it to, that you were never actually incapable of waking up early, pushing through fear, or staying disciplined. You just weren't in the habit of doing it. And once you step into this new identity, once you build momentum, once you start seeing yourself differently, it becomes easier to keep going, because here's what most people don't understand. Strength is also a habit. Discipline is a habit. Confidence is a habit. Taking action despite fear is a habit. These aren't things you either have or don't have. They're things you build through repetition. And just like weakness, they become automatic once you've repeated them enough times. This is why some people seem unstoppable. It's not because they're special. It's not because they have some secret advantage. It's because they've trained themselves into habits that support strength. Instead of weakness, they've built routines that reinforce action instead of avoidance. They've developed a mindset that helps them push forward instead of hold back. And you can do the exact same thing. The only difference between who you are now and who you want to be is the habits you build. That's it. If you train yourself to act with discipline, discipline becomes your default. If you train yourself to take action despite fear, confidence becomes your default. You train yourself to follow through on commitments, reliability becomes your default. So stop thinking you need to change who you are. You don't. You just need to change what you practice, because whatever you practice, you become nobody. Ever became stronger by staying comfortable. Growth and transformation don't happen when things are easy. They happen when you're pushed, challenged, and tested. But the truth is, most people avoid discomfort like it's the enemy. They think feeling uncomfortable means something is wrong. They assume struggle is a sign that they're failing. And because of that, they stay stuck in the same cycles, making the same excuses, settling for the same results. But discomfort is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. It is the doorway to your next level. And if you are serious about killing the weak version of yourself, you have to start seeking discomfort instead of running from it. Think about this. Every meaningful change you've ever made in your life happened because you were willing to step outside your comfort zone. Maybe you took a job you weren't fully prepared for. Maybe you walked away from a toxic relationship. Maybe you pushed through the fear of failure and tried something new. Whatever it was, it wrecked you. Discomfort. And the reason you grew, the reason you got better The reason you leveled up is because you pushed through the part where it felt hard. Now, most people never get to that part. They quit. The second things become uncomfortable, they feel resistance, and instead of pushing through, they retreat. They say, this is too hard. I'm not ready. I'll try again later. But later turns into never. And what they don't realize is that they are making the weak version of themselves stronger every single time. They choose comfort over challenge. Because here's the reality comfort is killing your potential. It's the reason you're stuck. It's the reason you keep repeating the same patterns. It's the reason you look at your life and wonder why nothing is changing. It's because you're waiting for growth to feel easy, but it never will. You will never wake up one day and suddenly feel like facing your fears. You will never magically develop self-discipline without effort. You will never become stronger by doing what you've always done. The only way to change is to step into the discomfort on purpose. You need to train yourself to lean into what feels hard. If waking up early is uncomfortable, wake up early anyway. If working out is uncomfortable, push through the workout. If putting yourself out there feels terrifying, do it scared. If saying no and setting boundaries is hard, start saying no. Anyway, the first time you do it, it will feel unbearable. Your mind will scream at you to quit. Your body will resist. Everything in you will want to retreat. But if you push through that moment just for a second, just for a minute, just long enough to prove to yourself that you will realize that discomfort doesn't last forever. It only controls you if you let it. And once you realize that you become dangerous because suddenly the things that used to stop you won't anymore. Fear won't stop you. Doubt won't stop you. Insecurity won't stop you. You'll still feel them, but they won't dictate your actions. You will act anyway. And this is where real change happens. Not in the moments when things feel easy, but in the moments when everything in you wants to quit and you don't look around at the people who inspire you, the ones who seem like they have an unstoppable drive, an unshakable mindset, an undeniable power in the way they move through life. They weren't born that way. They built it. They trained themselves to handle discomfort. They rewired their brains to stop associating struggle with failure and start associating it with growth. And if they can do it, so can you. So today, make a decision. Decide that you will no longer retreat when things get hard. Decide that you will no longer let discomfort dictate your future. Decide that every time you feel resistance, instead of backing down, you will lean in, because discomfort is not a sign to quit. It is proof that you are exactly where you need to be. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. It's the thing that will push you forward or the thing that will hold you back. And the truth is, for most people, their mind is working against them every single day. You know exactly what I'm talking about, that voice in your head that whispers, HM, you're not good enough, you're not ready, you're going to fail. What will people think? That voice that tells you to wait to stop, to take the easy route. That voice that reminds you of every past mistake, every insecurity, every reason why you should stay the same. That voice is a liar. And if you listen to it, it will keep you weak. It will keep you small. It will keep you stuck in the same place, making the same excuses, watching other people do the things you wish you had the courage to do so. If you want to kill the weak version of yourself, you have to take control of your mind. You cannot afford to let your thoughts run on autopilot, because if you don't take charge of them, they will take charge of you and they will steer you in the wrong direction every single time. The first step, stop believing every thought you have. Most people don't realize this, but just because you think something doesn't make it true, your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to make you successful. It's wired to seek comfort, to avoid pain, to resist change. So when you try to do something hard, wake up early, stick to a workout plan, start a business, walk away from a toxic situation, your brain will fight you every step of the way. It will flood you with fear and doubt. It will tell you to quit before you even begin. And if you were not careful, you'll believe it. So here's what you do. You start questioning your thoughts the next time that voice in your head tells you that you can't do something. Stop and ask yourself, is this actually true? When it tells you that you're not good enough. Ask who says when it tells you to quit. Ask what if I don't? Because 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that the thought has no real basis in reality. It's just an old fear, an outdated belief, a story you've told yourself for years without ever questioning it. And once you start questioning your thoughts, you take away their power. But that's not enough. You also have to replace them. You can't just silence the negative voice you have to train a stronger one that tells you the truth, one that pushes you forward instead of pulling you back. So when your mind tells you you can't do this, you respond with, I can and I will. When it says you're not ready, you say, I'll figure it out. When it says you're going to fail, you say, even if I fail, I will get back up. And here's the key. You don't wait until you believe it to say it. You say it till you believe it, because at first it's going to feel fake. Your mind will resist that weak version of you, will try to cling to the old beliefs. But if you keep showing up, if you keep overriding the negative with the truth, if you keep choosing to act based on your goals instead of your fears, something incredible happen. You start to believe in yourself, not because of some magical moment of confidence, not because someone else gives you permission, but because every single time you take control of your thoughts, you are proving to yourself through action that you are stronger than your excuses. And this is where the real transformation happens, because the moment you realize you don't have to listen to the voice that keeps you weak is the moment you become unstoppable every single day. You are either building discipline or making excuses. There is no in between. And here's the truth. Motivation will fail. You will not always feel like doing the hard things. You will not always feel like waking up early, working out, eating, right, pushing yourself, or following through on your commitments. And if you only take action when you feel like it, you will never build the life you want. This is where most people go wrong. They think discipline is something that just happens, that one day they'll wake up and suddenly be a disciplined person, that one morning they'll feel different, more motivated, more committed, and from then on everything will change. But that's a lie. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you train and training. Discipline means doing things you don't feel like doing every single day. It means waking up when your alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze. Even if you're tired, it means showing up to the gym when you said you would. Even if you don't feel like it, it means sticking to the plan, pushing through the resistance, following through on your word, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or exhausting. Because the truth is, discipline isn't about feeling good in the moment. It's about doing what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. So how do you build it? You stop negotiating with yourself. Most people fail because they give themselves too many options. They wait up and decide whether they feel like working out. They look at their to-do list and decide whether they're in the mood to do the work. But the moment you give yourself a choice, you've already lost, because your brain will always choose the easier option. So you remove the choice. You don't think about it. You don't analyze it. You don't argue with yourself. You just do it. Discipline means when the alarm goes off, you get up. No debating, no excuses. Discipline means when you say you're going to work out, you show up, no skipping, no second guessing. Discipline means when it's time to do the hard thing, you do it because that's just who you are now. And at first, it will be hard. At first, it will feel unnatural. But the more you follow through, the more you train your brain to expect it, the more you prove to yourself that you can trust yourself, the more you show up, not because you feel like it, but because you said you. And this is the difference between people who and people who stay stuck, the successful ones. They are not more motivated than you. They are not more talented, more gifted, or more lucky. They have just built the habit of doing what needs to be done no matter what. So if you want to kill weak version of yourself, you have to stop waiting to feel ready. You have to stop hoping for motivation. You have to start moving before you feel like moving, because discipline is a muscle. And the more you train it, the stronger it gets. Your environment is either shaping you into the strongest version of yourself or keeping you trapped in weakness. Most people don't realize just how much their surroundings impact them. They assume their mindset, discipline, and success are purely personal, but the truth is your environment influences everything. Look around at the people you spend time with. Look at the content you consume, the conversations you have, the habits of those closest to you. If you are surrounded by negativity, laziness, excuses, and small thinking, it will infect you. Even if you're motivated, even if you have big goals, being in a weak environment will slowly drain your energy, your drive, and your belief in yourself, because energy is contagious. If you are constantly around people who complain, you will start complaining. If you are around people who make excuses, you will start making excuses. If you surround yourself with people who settle for less, you will start lowering your standards without even realizing it. This is why the weak version of you thrives in the wrong environment. It thrives when you're around people who don't challenge themselves. It thrives when you are comfortable, distracted, and unchallenged. It thrives when you are surrounded by influences that reinforce the habits, mindsets, and behaviors that are keeping you small. So if you are serious about rebuilding yourself, the first step is to audit your environment. Who are you spending time with? Do they inspire you or drain you? Are they pushing you to grow, or are they holding you back? What are you consuming? Are you filling your mind with information that makes you stronger, or are you wasting hours on meaningless distractions? Where are you spending your time? Are you in places that support your goals? Or are you stuck in routines that keep you from growing? You have to be brutally honest with yourself, because if your environment is keeping you weak, it is your responsibility to change it. That means cutting out the toxic influences. That means setting boundaries with people who bring you down. That means limiting your time around negativity, drama, and distractions. But it's not just about removing the bad. It's about replacing it with what makes you stronger. Surround yourself with people who are disciplined, driven, and committed to growth, even if you don't know them. Personally read their books, listen to their podcasts, watch their interviews. Immerse yourself in an environment that reinforces the mindset and habits you need to become the person you want to be. Your environment should challenge you. It should make you uncomfortable in the best way. It should force you to level up, to stretch beyond what you thought was possible, to rise to a higher standard. Because here's the truth. You cannot build a strong mind in a weak environment. You cannot kill the old weak version of yourself if you keep putting yourself in situations that reinforce it. You cannot develop discipline if you are constantly around people who lack it. You cannot step into your full potential if you are stuck in the same routines, same conversations, and same cycles that have kept you small. So change your environment and you will change your life. This isn't easy. It requires making hard decisions. It requires stepping away from comfort, from old habits, from relationships that no longer serve your growth. But if you want to rebuild yourself, this is non-negotiable, because you will either rise to the level of your environment or fall to it. Choose wisely.